Hello and welcome back to my channel and the 30-Day Better You Challenge. My name is Jonathan. Thank you for joining me here. This whole program is all about self-development. So, of course, we're always talking about the self, but today we're actually going to talk about other people, and more specifically about how we can make stronger and better connections with other people and really make positive impressions with them. It's day 12, and today's challenge is make better connections with people. So the first tip I have for you is when you meet someone new, and it's simply just to remember their name. And I know that we kind of all struggle a little bit with this, at least most of us do. I know I do. I have a terrible memory, but it's kind of an important thing, and it's really effective. I think because so many people struggle with remembering their names when they're first meeting someone, it just kind of goes in one ear, out the other. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because, we're trying not to be awkward or thinking about what we're saying when we're introducing ourselves, but somehow just names just slip our minds, and oftentimes we find ourselves like, well, what was that person's name again? Or you have to ask them what their name was again. And, I'm terrible with names, but I'm good with faces. How many times have you heard that, or how many times have you said that? So because so many people are, not very good at this, if you become good at this, you automatically just stand out, and people notice. I think we've all felt that feeling when someone that we just met sees us a day or two later, and they're like, "Hey, Jonathan," and we might not remember their name, but they remember ours, and it makes us feel special. We're like, "That's cool," and then you're like, "Oh shit, what was his name?" So it's effective. It's so effective, but I know that it's not easy. So I'm going to give you a trick. This is something I picked up several years ago. It's a mnemonic device. I think that's how you say it, mnemonic device. Yeah. It's a mind trick or a memory trick. And all you're going to do is when someone introduces themselves and they say their name, the first thing you do is you repeat it back to them. So someone says, "Hey, I'm David," and you say, "Oh, hey, David, I'm Jonathan." So you repeat the name back to them. And then what you're going to do is take the first letter of their name, so in this case, D for David, and associate it with either a physical attribute or maybe something about their personality. So in this case, maybe David has dimples. So dimple David, David dimples. And that will stick. That seed is planted. And that's it. If you were meeting me and I walked up to you and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? It's a beautiful day. The sun's out. The weather's nice. My name's Jonathan. What's yours?" You might notice that I seem happy, and another word for happy that starts with the letter J is jolly. So jolly Jonathan. It's all about this word association and the letters in the first letter in the name, and so maybe your name is Sharon, and you tell me your name's Sharon, and I repeat your name back. "Oh, hey, Sharon, nice to meet you." And then you proceed to tell me a little bit about your story. And in my mind, because you're doing this internally, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Sharon is sharing her story with me, or sharing what she's doing today. And so I just make that association, sharing Sharon, jolly Jonathan, and David Dimples. And that's it. It's pretty easy, or simple anyways. In theory, it takes a little bit of practice, and you have to have a little bit of observation skills. But once that seed is planted, it works. You won't forget that person's name. So there's tip number one. Tip number two is make eye contact. It's very important if someone is talking and you're listening to them, make eye contact. You don't have to be creepy with it or anything, or stare at them, smile a little bit. I'll throw that in there, another bonus tip, smile more. But in general, try to make eye contact. If you're looking around the room, it's communicating to them that they're not important enough to listen to. And especially if you were looking at your phone. We talked about that yesterday, right? it's kind of rude to be looking at your phone while someone's trying to talk to you. And it just shows them that you aren't listening. So if you're making eye contact while someone's talking, it makes them feel valued and heard. And then if you're the one doing the talking, it makes you seem more confident, like you know what you're talking about. If I'm looking around the room and talking to you and trying to have a conversation, especially if I'm looking down, I become like less assertive, almost like I don't know what I'm talking about, or maybe even I'm lying or making stuff up. But this direct, eye contact thing, the eyes are the window to the soul, right? So we're having a human connection here, and we want to be communicating. And I can actually show this to you now, because if I'm looking at a lens, but it looks as though I'm looking at your eyes. But if I look at the monitor, all I did was shift my eyes, and I'm just staring at the camera's monitor to the right. And it's impersonal, right? Like I'm talking to someone who might be standing behind you. I'm no longer talking to you. Or if I ignore the camera altogether, and again, I'm looking around the room while I'm talking to you, it's just, it's not very personal. There's no contact. You don't feel that important to look at, and so forth. But if I look directly in your eyes, or in this case at the camera, there's a connection there, and you feel like I'm reaching out to you and communicating more effectively. And so that's why eye contact is really important. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is practice active listening. And active listening is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's when you are listening to someone and you're fully present, fully engaged with what they have to say. I'm not looking at the room, not looking at my phone. And a very common mistake is people listen, but they listen with the intent to respond. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, and I just can't wait to cut in and start talking. And sometimes we even interrupt the person to do that, and that's kind of rude. And it just you're not really listening to that person anymore. You're the one doing the talking, and so when you listen, just be mindful of are you actually listening, or are you just thinking about what you're going to say? And it's obvious, when you have these conversations with people, it's pretty obvious when they are just trying to like cut in and cut you off, interrupt you, and they're just so excited about what they have to say. It doesn't really make you feel like you're that important or what you have to say matters, does it? So don't do that. Nobody likes that feeling. So practice active listening. And hey, if you want to learn more about these kinds of techniques and how to interact with people better, of course, there's a lot of stuff on the internet you can look at, but I highly recommend this book by Dale Carnegie. You've probably heard of it. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a fantastic book. It was written almost 90 years ago, and it still holds up today. Everything in this book is pretty much still applicable to today. And when I first heard about the book, especially the title, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and then I knew it was kind of an old book, immediately I kind of judged it, and I was thinking, this is some kind of like mind games or parlor tricks a mentalist uses to basically like manipulate people into liking him or something. And I thought it was going to be like that kind of book. But Dale Carnegie, man, that dude was legit. He was genuine, and he seemed to really care about people and cared about how he made people feel. And he was kind of the original Tony Robbins motivational speaker. He helped a lot of people out in the business world back in the day, being a consultant. And so the book itself is filled with testimonials from people, business people, CEOs, executives from back then in the 30s, which is really cool to hear that. And the thing that stuck out is they're dealing with the exact same issues that we're dealing with today. Even if the business world and everything changed, like it's still dealing with people, being a team leader or being part of a team, interacting with people, especially when there's conflict or disagreements. How do you navigate that and be the most effective you can be in that situation? And it's all in here. One of the coolest techniques I remember, for some reason, I think it's the name, is the compliment sandwich. It's in this. That's where I first heard that. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's basically when you have like an issue with someone, like they're doing something wrong and you need to fix it or change it, or you need something out of them that maybe it's hard to ask for or whatever. You just need something from them, but usually it has to do with like they're doing something not right or whatever. Like it might be an employee. And so you have to kind of have that awkward conversation with and tell them and be the bearer of bad news. But you do so in such an awesome way. It's called the compliment sandwich because you basically soften them up with a compliment and something genuine. You don't make something up, but you soften them up with a compliment. And then you deliver the bad news and you say, hey, I need you to change this, or I need you to fix this, or I need you to do something for me. And then you end it with, another compliment, or just, hey, I really appreciate what you do here. You work really, really hard, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your understanding. And it's just this, the idea of being sensitive or understanding to other people and their own sensitivities. It's nobody likes to be scolded or told that they're doing something wrong. So to be an effective communicator and an effective leader, just to know how to navigate that and really get the most out of people without making people feel bad. Like, it's all in this book. It's pretty cool. You'll learn a lot of things. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. I really appreciate you watching these videos and taking the time out of your day to participate. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm a new channel. Today's day 12, and my channel is only 12 days old. So please do subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Like these videos, share them with whoever you think might benefit from them. Also comment, let me know what you want to hear more of, or if something particularly resonated with you, let me know. I'd love to hear where you're at in your journey. And again, I really appreciate if you're here watching this kind of content, then you're on this path of self-development, and so kudos for you. And did you see what I did there? That was a compliment sandwich. You got sandwiched. You didn't even know it, did you? Yep, it's all in this book. You'll learn. Anyways, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.